Insisting on, welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. And welcome to Friday's edition, yes, Friday's edition of the dceu Daily. If you want to continue this conversation or any other conversation I ignite on here, follow me on Instagram and Snapchat, which is Big Mouth, and also on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. So let's talk about Bounding Into Comics, who have done this big spread about Wonder Woman 84 and literally spoilt the whole film and tried to kind of hint that this is the reactions of this latest test screening are a disaster. Right, first of all, right, before we go any further, there's going to be spoilers for Wonder Woman 1984. So if you don't want to know what happens in this film, please go away and watch this video afterwards. If you don't mind the spoilers, keep here on Big Mouth and we will discuss what Bounding Into Comics are and what they're attempting to do. So a few weeks ago, or last week, I made a video announcing that I was now a member of the Fandom Menace. I love the Fandom Menace. The Fandom Menace does a good thing. The Fandom Menace educates the public to what's really going on behind the scenes in Hollywood and their agenda and their virtue signaling. But Wonder Woman 1984 has not one ounce of virtue signaling. Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot are wonderful women who say Wonder Woman is for everyone. There is no need to attack this film. Now, Bounding Into Comics is absolutely a paid-up member of the Fandom Menace. And this article is literally been done because this film has a female lead and they're trying to put the kibosh on it. It's not going to work because people like me are not going to allow them to get away with it. So should we read this article, and a bit later on in the video we'll be talking about the Snyder Cut as well. So stay tuned for that. So this is their headline. Alleged Wonder Woman 84 plot details leak after October test screening called a disaster. It's funny because I went to a test screening, I'm not going to tell you which one, but I went to a test screening of Wonder Woman 84 and we were very happy with the film, extremely happy with the film. The latest screening for Wonder Woman 1984 held last month is a meeting with a mixed reaction that doesn't bode well for the film. Hang on a minute, if it's a mixed reaction wouldn't be bad, but where I was and what I've been hearing on the grapevine, people are excited about this film. But anyway, carry on with your agenda. According to Cosmic Book News is part of the Fandom Menace as well, by the way. Words thrown around to describe Wonder Woman 1994 include goofy, slow, and plot heavy. There's nothing wrong with lots of plot. Slow. Was there too much story for you and good acting for you? I don't know who they were speaking to, but this is ridiculous. Matt McGloin writes, Redditors note this version of Wonder Woman 84 received mixed reactions, as some felt it came off really goofy, really campy, and simple, with others of feeling it too slow and plot heavy. Campy. It's set in 1984. Of course it's going to be freaking campy, you blundering idiots. What a stupid non-criticism. Anyway, we carry on. Not only did Redditors, who are not a reliable source for anything anyway, provide their reaction to this test screening, but they also revealed a number of alleged plot details. The source of Max's powers is reportedly a magic stone. It can grant wishes, but has a monkey's paw effect that gives them an added curse, and the curses feed Max Lord's power. This is true. I've seen the test screening. This is true. I enjoyed this element. I don't think this is a bad element. So what we're going to do, we're going to look at these leaks one by one, and I'm going to tell you why they're not bad. So Max powers is reportedly a magic stone. It can grant wishes, but has a monkey's paw effect that gives them an added curse. So you get a wish right, but you get a curse as well. So what's wrong with that? That's a great thing. You know, if you get a wish, that's great. But then there's payback for that as well. There's a twist at the end of it. So far, I'm not seeing the film and reading this. I'm just wondering why that's a negative thing. Anyway, we go on. Diana gets Steve back by accidentally wishing him alive again. The problem is, as we reported months back, Steve is in the body of another man. Only she sees as Steve. Her wish also costs her some of her invincibility, as bullets and knives can now hurt her. Right, nothing wrong with Steve being alive in another man, and I don't see the problem with that, and she can only see him again, that's fine, not a problem. Losing her powers, some of her powers, is fine, because obviously this will make her mission to defeat Cheetah and Maxwell Lord a lot more kind of difficult. It's more of a challenge, and we don't want our heroes to have an easy time of it. And obviously, we all know what's going to happen by the end of the film, and she'll be empowered again. So again, I don't see anything wrong with this. If you do, comment down below. But it might be much more than just her invincibility. You see what they're doing now? They're adding things in to stir the pot, basically. One user who claims to have seen the test screening notes, Diana is fairly powerless for most of the movie because she lost most of her powers due to making a wish on the stone, since it works like a monkey's paw, and each wish exacts a price from the wisher. They add, so for most of the film, she fights mainly using a lasso because it's the only thing that hasn't lost its power. So what? She's depowered for some of the film. So what? How is this a bad thing again? It makes it more of a challenge for us as an audience and as for Diana as well. And it will just give us, the audience, more empathy with her. Again, I don't see how this is a bad thing. Anyway. And the lasso appears to have gotten an upgrade. It now has the ability to fire off bolts of lightning. And am I supposed to be pissed off about that? I wasn't when I saw it, and I'm not now. This is someone who saw it. I lost interest when she suddenly had the ability to turn things invisible and was lassoing bolts of lightning. Why? Why? That's what Wonder Woman does. Have you never read a Wonder Woman comic before? Anyway, right. After losing the power to fly, she and Steve go after Lord. McGloin swears in a plane which Diana can turn invisible. Yep, we know she's got an invisible jet, yep. You probably saw that coming, especially if you saw the set video from June 2018, which seemed to indicate Wonder Woman would be flying around in the iconic invisible jet, which is awesome. And it looks awesome, right? But well, it's an invisible jet, but you get my meaning, right? Lord's Rock also gives Barbara Maneva, Kristen Wiig, the power of the cheetah, since she wants so badly to be a hero. So do you see what's going on here? This character wants to badly become a hero, but ironically, she becomes the polar opposite. That's great writing. That's great storytelling. And Kristen does a great job with this, right? The power Cheetah obtains allows her to leap around at super speed and hurt people with her claws. They also add that Cheetah also gains super strength. And there's a scene reminiscent of a scene with Bruce Willis in Unbreakable where she clean and jerks about 1,000 pounds in the gym to the amazement of everyone there. Great scene. Oh yeah, here's what the actual Redditor says. Oh, I forgot to mention that Barbara gains super strength, and there's a scene reminiscent of a scene from Bruce Willis in Unbreakable. There she clean and jerks about 1,000 pounds in the gym to the amazement of everyone. Right? Again, I don't see the problem. However, they were not impressed with Wiig's outfit or her power set. They state, I didn't find her particularly powerful or menacing looking. She just looks like Kristen Wiig in a cat suit. Or as I like to call her, Cat's Reject. Oh my God. So much agenda. That's exactly what she is. She's not supposed to look powerful. This is Cheetah. The powerfulness comes from Wiig's performance. You are so pathetic. You are so agenda-driven, right? Nevertheless, Cheetah will play villain to Diana after she discovers Diana's plans to apprehend Lord, which in turn would see her powers taken away. Barbara eventually goes back to normal with everything else after a big fight where Max undoes his wishes by mistake. Steve goes away too, but that's not the end of Steve's unwitting host, and Diana McGloin explains with an analogy to a Brad Pitt movie. But we're not done yet, as the flick apparently rips off the Meet Joe Black as the guy that Steve Trevor was possessing. He doesn't remember anything but strikes up a conversation with Diana, and she agrees to go out on a date with him. Well, I wouldn't exactly call it a date, but again, I don't see anything wrong with this. There's nothing wrong. Diana has to get on with her life, right? She, this film has learned her to get over the loss of Steve. That's the whole point. It's about moving on. There is nothing wrong with this. And if you find something wrong with it, you have an agenda. I'm sorry. You haven't seen the film. I have. It's as simple as that. Diana agreed to go on a date with a guy who was possessed by her ex-lover. She's the reason he was possessed. That just seems messed up. Why? She accidentally makes a wish, right? She learns with what happens in this film to move on from Trevor. The guy says, do you want to go out, or whatever. I don't want to say the exact words, but, it's, for me, again, you're looking for stuff. And as I say, this is the fandom menace. Sometimes the fandom menace is fantastic, but sometimes something gets caught in its crossfire and it's not good, because this film is a brilliant film and I will not stand for these agenda-driven people to start, doing this. But anyway, listen to this. This is the most laughable thing. This sounds as ridiculous as Supergirl starring Helen Slater, and that film came out in 1984. It's pathetic. Both films don't have anything to do with it, but Supergirl actually has a special place in my heart, so up yours. As ridiculous as their alleged plot leaks sound, there might be some credibility to it, as the alleged Wonder Woman 1984 test screening leaks have been removed from its original post on Reddit, with a message that reads, removed by Reddit in response to copyright notice. Yes, the spoilers are true. I've seen the film, the spoilers are true. And I've just I've torn to pieces this agenda piece, right? Anyway, after a previous test screening in May, director Patty Jenkins was extremely positive and even noted that she wanted to release the film earlier than its summer 2020 release date. Why wouldn't she? It's a brilliant movie. You're going to love it, everyone. Just ignore them. And now I've just screened a version of the film and I'm like, oh my God, can we move it back up again? I'm dying to release this film, but of course it's good and it's fine, but it's frustrating to have to wait. The trailer for Wonder Woman 1984 premieres in Brazil this December. I think that's it. Yes, agenda, the 8th of November. Wow. So I suppose when you clicked onto this, everyone, you were expecting some revelation that Wonder Woman is such a bad film. Now, obviously I knew what's in the film, but I read it out to you. It's important to read it out. It's important to read these pieces out because, look, they're getting clicks from this. This is what's wrong. And I suppose me even talking about it here and bigger sites talking about it and bigger YouTubers talking about it only gives them success. And that's why they're doing it. But the point of the matter is, bounding into comics, as I said on the top of the show, is part of the fandom menace. It has an agenda. It does a lot of good things. It exposes a lot of good things. But I'm sorry, this is not exposing anything but showing you what a brilliant, different, unique movie this is going to be. It is not slow. It absolutely is campy because it's set in 1984. What a stupid non-criticism. So what we can take from this, everyone, is just an agenda piece. It's trying to get you to hate a female-led movie. Now, I always say misogynism is a fake term, and it's just from feminists who want to hate on men. But when I see an agenda piece like this, I see real-life freaking misogyny. Now, don't get me wrong. I will back the fandom menace to the hilt. But when you come after my queen, when you come after my gal and my Patty, for wonderful, lovely women who gave us a brilliant first movie and are going to give us a brilliant sequel, when you do this to them for no reason. And what's really funny is when Ewan McGregor came out about basically Birds of Prey, the Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, being about misogynist men and teaching us how to be better, the fandom menace didn't do anything. No videos, no outrage, no nothing. I didn't hear anything, but they went for Wonder Woman. That's interesting, isn't it? Isn't nothing to do with most of the fandom menace being Star Wars fans and they didn't want to expose Ewan McGregor or say anything horrible about Ewan McGregor, was it? I think so. So as I say, I'm a paid up member to the fandom menace. I will support their message when it's a good message. But when you come for a film that's done nothing to you, that hasn't attacked our gender, hasn't attached our colour of our skin or our age group, you have got an agenda and you are doing something that is absolutely wrong. I'll leave it on this subject for now, but we will come back to this subject in other videos. But don't worry, everyone. I've read out to you the plot points, the leaks. I've explained to you that these are awesome and they look even better on the screen. A very emotional film. There'll be a lot of tears for you because the stuff between Diana and Steve is so emotional, so raw, and so beautiful. It's on to the Snyder Cut now. Release the Snyder Cut. And Screen Rant are claiming that Justice League, Zack Snyder's cut, cast Darkseid's servant Desaad. Now, we've spoken about this before, but they've added a bit more to this, so let's see what they've got to say. Peter Guinness was cast as Desaad, Darkseid's master torturer, in Zack Snyder's original cut of Justice League. The British actor is most recent to join a long list of actors whose characters go the axe during Joss Whedon's infamous rewrites and reshoots of Zack Snyder's Justice League movie. One of the areas of the Justice League that was most lacking was its villain Steppenwolf, with virtually no backstory or character motivation. Steppenwolf is a shallow, all CGI character who fails to seem like much of a threat, all on his own. We've come to learn since Steppenwolf was only the face of something much larger and more menacing. Darkseid was supposed to be looming force portrayed by actor Ray Porter in Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League, providing more backstory to Steppenwolf and serving as a larger threat, with a role that isn't unlike that of Sauron in Lord of the Rings movies. Wow. And of course that means he had other minions besides Steppenwolf as well. Back in June, it was revealed that the Justice League trailer dialogue, "No protectors here, no lanterns, no Kryptonian," was actually Steppenwolf reporting back to Desaad. How awesome is that? From Earth. Then the film Exiles Network reported Desaad was played by British actor Peter Guinness. Screen Rant has confirmed this detail with sources close to production, adding Guinness named the list of actors who shot scenes for the movie that ended up discarded through the reshoot process. If you call it a process, by the way. Most recently known for his role as Major Burov in HBO's Chernobyl. I still need to see that, by the way. Guinness has a long history of film and television acting, including roles in Alien 3, that's right, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, and Sleepy Hollow. He's done a lot, actually. Along with numerous stage shows over the years, Desaad's role in the movie was not substantial, more comparable to the other Thanos servant in the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy, as seen by the trailer moment described above. Despite the small part in Justice League, Desaad would have likely seen a larger presence in Justice League 2, which would explain why the role went to an actor such as Guinness. With more and more actors and crew members from Justice League coming out to support Zack Snyder's original version of the movie, Warner Brothers will likely need to acknowledge the demand pent up over the past 2 years, sooner rather than later. And I've got another article to read from Screen Rant in a moment about the Snyder Cut. And don't forget, November 17th will be 2 years since that calamity they call Justice League was released. And I'm absolutely going to be doing a special video for the DCEU Daily. So please tune in for that one. But who knows, on November 17th, we could get an announcement that's going to be released. Imagine that. Imagine how special that would be, and I could actually break that Blu-ray finally in front of you on November the 17th, the anniversary, the 2-year anniversary of the release. I would really, really love to do that. Yes, yet another Justice League crew member has come out to support release the Snyder Cut and this amazing movement. Another Justice League crew member champions the real version, yeah. He actually shows us a piece of his artwork he did, I think, while they were in Iceland. And he talks about, this is while I was working on the real version of Justice League. It is interesting, though, how all these people are coming out now. We'll talk about that more in a moment. But let's read the article. After a big week of Justice League cast and crew speaking up about the Snyder Cut, another crew member is joining the fray to support the call for Warner Brothers to release the Snyder Cut. Over the course of just a few days, Jesse Eisenberg chimed in on the Snyder Cut for the first time. Jason Momoa once again stated that he's seen the movie and audiences need to see it. Junkie XL confirmed his Justice League score is complete. Two VFX supervisors confirmed many shots are complete or near complete. But according to John Aaron Garza, Zack Snyder couldn't possibly complete a cut of this film or the special effects because John Aaron Garza apparently thinks that Zack's sitting at a desktop on his own. No, John, your agenda has to stop now. It's okay to admit when we're wrong. Zack has a team of people. There would have been a team of people at his studio, his personal studio, to complete it. I'm sorry, John, you are wrong. Please admit it or be quiet. We carry on. Where are we? And now the aerial second unit director, Clay Staub, is also throwing his hat in the ring. We're closing in on 2 years following the theatrical release of Justice League and the Snyder Cut. It's still one of the hottest topics in DC films, even though Snyder has no involvement in current or future DC movies for now. And Warner Brothers has made no indication they plan to release the Snyder Cut. One anonymous executive outright denied any plans over a year ago. That was Ben Fritz's hit piece. And by the way, we'll be talking about Ben Fritz's hit piece on November the 17th, the 2-year anniversary of the release of Justice League, because I think that's very important. I think it's very important how we've moved on from that, because it was a hit piece. It was with conjunction with the studio. That's obvious. I'm alleging that, yes. I don't know for a fact, but that's my opinion. And I'm allowed to have an opinion. And that hit piece disappeared very, very quickly because it was depressing reading it, but we rose up. And Zack helped us by leaking more and more information. So that kind of discussion on November the 17th, don't miss a very special DCEU Daily. While the ongoing debate so far has centered on whether or not the cut even exists, that hasn't been a debate for a very long time. It exists, it's done, it's ready. The man has said it. Stop it. Despite ample evidence that it does, many people seem to have turned a corner recently, particularly after recent comments from Momoa and Junkie XL. Snyder himself already confirmed he has a cut of a movie earlier this year. So all this new news only goes to reinforce the fact that the Snyder Cut is real. Yeah, we know it is now. It's not even worth arguing about it. If someone tells you it's not real, just ignore them, because they're obviously not very well, are they? Meaning that the situation is in Warner Brothers' hands as to whether or not it should be released. Joining the ranks of the growing crowd of cast and crew who have already spoken out is Aerial Second Unit Director Clay Staub, who recently tweeted, "Looking back at my time in Iceland on the real Justice League, wow, that's brilliant. It was epic and can still be." Speaking directly to Screen Rant, Staub confirmed his involvement in the film. "I was the Aerial Second Unit Director on the Justice League, and I did some time in London and Monaco too. Most of my work was focused on Bruce Wayne's travel to the village in Iceland and the discovery of Arthur Curry." Staub's tweet also included a drawing of Batman and the Batmobile. He was drawn by production designer Patrick Tatterbloss and signed by several people in the production. A version of the Iceland scenes of Bruce Wayne discovering Arthur Curry was in the theatrical cut, although it was heavily cut down and mixed with reshoots. Yup. As evidenced by trailers, there were many shots of the cold Iceland terrain, additional story beats about Bruce Wayne's trip that didn't make it into the theatrical version because it had to be under 2 hours. The London scenes were likely related to Wonder Woman's introduction and the famous aerial shot of the Superman banner of Tower Bridge, in addition to all the work at Pinewood Studios. While Monaco is where Lex Luthor's yacht and meeting with Deathstroke was shot, it's not clear how much of the London and Monaco shoots were changed, and all Staub would tell Screen Rant is, "I will leave that up to the original JR version to shed light on someday." Brilliant, I love that. Just keeps our intrigue going, doesn't it? Very clever, Clay. While so many of the Justice League cast and crew speaking up and more questions being asked in interviews, things seem to have passed a turning point. If things continue to snowball at this rate, Warner Brothers may be forced to finally officially comment on the whole situation sooner rather than later. I don't think the studio feels the pressure. I think they're okay because there's new leadership now, so they're not under the pressure because everybody knows it wasn't the people there who did this, basically. Let's be honest about this. Maybe one person you still want to accuse of it, but at the end of the day, it is new leadership, nothing to do with Ann Sarnoff, nothing to do with Walter Hamada, so they can't be blamed. So there's less embarrassment and less pressure, but I do think in the case of public relations, they really, really need to announce this and admit to this and release this film. Now, I do want to talk about something. very, very serious and very important before I sign off today. There's a lot of hate right now in the movement for Henry Cavill. I do not like this. I love Henry Cavill. I love Gal Gadot. I love all the Justice League members and cast members, everyone involved. And I think when I hear people saying, well, they haven't backed Zack Snyder publicly, then we should attack them. Henry Cavill is a great Superman. He's a great actor. He's a good man. But he's not going to ruin a potentially fantastic career coming out backing Zack Snyder. Now, wait a minute. Before you talk about the Cyborg guy, Ray is it, and Jason Momoa, let me talk to you about Ray, the Cyborg guy. He doesn't really have much of a movie career. He's doing bits and bobs. He mainly does stuff in the theatre. He does a lot of conventions as well. He makes a lot of money from his streaming thing he does as well. He's not very serious about becoming a successful actor. That's why he's backed Zack publicly. In terms of Jason Momoa is a lock-in for Aquaman. He may even be working in conjunction with Warner Brothers to be promoting the Snyder Cut for when they actually announced they're going to release it. So again, he's not taking any risks. Basically, Henry Cavill is being accused of many things, but he did comment on somebody. Was it that ad? Wasn't it? That it was on that ad. So if you wait right there, I'll see if I can read it out to you. I can't find what he commented, but he commented on Ryan Reynolds' ad. Ryan Reynolds did a whiskey ad where he took the piss yet again of the Henry's moustache CGI in the Justice League. And Henry actually commented and said, you can't wash away the pain with CGI or something like that. So he's actually commented. He's not happy about it. He's not happy about what happened. He didn't support them. He does support Zack. I'm even going to play you a video from a few years ago where there's an event where he introduces Zack Snyder. Here you go. Make your own minds up.
Worked on it for a year, and Zack, goodness, must have been around 3 years, if not more. And all of these minds and all this hard work that went into this, it would not have been possible without the incredible guidance and leadership of the unique visionary that is my friend, Zack Snyder. So everyone put your hands together one more time. Worked on it for a year, and Zack.
The unique visionary that is Zack Snyder. It wouldn't have been possible without my friend, Zack Snyder. Do you think that's fake? No, you don't talk like that about someone unless you respect them, unless you look up to them. And everyone who works for Zack looks up to them. I can promise you behind the scenes, he's been backing Zack. Of course he can. But he's got a really promising career. And let's not forget something. Henry is as much of a victim as Zack and Deb are in all of this. His image was desecrated. And some of you people disgust me. You actually come out and call him a traitor and think some of you are so toxic. It's untrue and I want nothing to do with you. Stop talking nonsense about Henry Cavill. He's a nice man and he's on Zack's side. Everyone on that production, even the people who are not publicly backing him, are behind him, and they will talk further. More and more people will talk further. I mean, Henry actually making that comment is a public backing for Zack. But Henry has been damaged in this as much as Zack has, and as much as Deb has, and as much as us as fans have. Always remember that. So keep it in check, have some manners, respect everyone, be nice as much as you can, apart from bounding into comics. Those guys are twats for that Wonder Woman thing. So what do you think about bounding into comments? I'll say that again. What do you think about bounding into comics a Wonder Woman 1984 article? Do you think it looks like a bad film? Are you with me? Do you think it's going to be awesome? I know it's awesome because I've seen it. But are you happy about it? Did I explain things properly to you? Did I explain away your problems? And what do you think of people criticising Henry Cavill for not backing Zack Snyder and the movement publicly? And are you excited that more and more people behind the scenes of the real Justice League are coming out and talking about the cut and stuff like that? But it's also interesting, before I go, why everyone's coming out now. It's like the release is imminent. It's like the announcement is imminent and everyone's getting in there. It seems to me that maybe these people have been briefed by a marketing CEO. Do you get what I mean? I think we're going to get an announcement about the release of the Snyder Cut very soon. Keep your ears open, and remember, whatever breaks, you'll see it first. And you won't want to miss me breaking the Justice League, theatrical version of Justice League, in half in front of you and my beautiful subscribers. There'll be more DCEU Daily tomorrow. See you then.